The year is 1969. The month, July. In a vast, windowless room, men in white shirts and thin black ties hold their breath, their faces bathed in the glow of flickering cathode ray screens. The air is thick with tension and the smell of ozone. A voice, calm and measured, echoes through the chamber, counting down not in English, but in the ancient, august tongue of Latin. Decem, Novem, Octo. This is not Houston. This is the Curia Caelestis, the celestial senate, nestled deep within the Palatine Hill in the eternal city of Rome, and on the launch pad, far across the Atlantic at the Portus Aeneas spaceport in Provincia Guyana, the rocket known as the Jupiter Fulminans vents plumes of vapor, a 363-foot titan of polished bronze and ivory ceramic. In 1969, the Roman Empire is about to launch Apollo 11. This is the story of a timeline where the flame of knowledge was never extinguished, and humanity reached for the stars under the banner of the eagle. Our story begins not with rockets, but with scrolls. In the year 391 Anno Domini, as our timeline's Library of Alexandria burned, this world saw a different fate. A secret order of Greek and Roman scholars, the Custodes Scientiae, the guardians of knowledge, foresaw the coming chaos. They did not save everything, but they saved what mattered. The mechanics of Hero, the astronomical calculations of Ptolemy, the lost schematics for steam-powered automata, and the foundational principles of logical inquiry. They rescued not just facts, but a method, a way of thinking that our world would lose for 1,000 years. While our Western Europe splintered and descended into the Dark Ages, the Roman Empire, bolstered by this secret wellspring of innovation, merely stumbled. It never fell. The custodes became a shadow ministry, feeding technological advancements to the state at a controlled pace, ensuring stability above all else. A rudimentary steam engine averted a famine in the 6th century by powering an unprecedented aqueduct system. Clockwork navigational aids allowed Roman galleons to chart the globe with terrifying precision. The Industrial Revolution did not explode in 18th century Britain. It was a slow, deliberate burn, ignited in 9th century Byzantium. The world map was painted imperial purple not just by the legionary's gladius, but by the engineer's gear and the inventor's blueprint. There was no Renaissance, for there was no rebirth needed. The light of the classical age had never been allowed to die. But to understand how this Pax Technologica led to bioluminescent cities and lunar legions, we must first examine a forgotten decree from an ambitious emperor. By the 1800s, the Roman Empire was a global entity, its dominion absolute. From the subjugated Han provinces in the east to the sprawling colonial territories of the Occidents, the Americas, all roads still led to Rome. Yet for Emperor Augustus Tiberius IV, the world was no longer enough. Roman astronomy, armed with state-funded observatories that dwarfed anything in our timeline, had mapped the heavens with a precision that was centuries ahead of its time. They understood orbital mechanics not through a single genius like Newton, but through generations of imperial data collection and mechanical computation. The moon, Luna, was no longer a goddess. It was a place, a territory. In the year 1888, in a speech to the Senate that would alter the course of human destiny, the emperor issued the Mandatum Caeleste, the celestial mandate. It was a simple, audacious declaration. Rome must touch the moon. The gods had been conquered by reason, and now their celestial domain would be claimed by the empire. It was not a mission of exploration. It was a statement of ultimate power, a proclamation to the globe, and to history itself, that there was no frontier beyond the grasp of the eagle. This single decree had a terrifying, unforeseen consequence. It channeled the entire might of a global industrial empire into a single, celestial goal for the next 80 years. This grand endeavor was given a name whispered with reverence and fear throughout the Collegium Machinamentorum, the imperial ministry of invention. It was called the Caesar Protocol. It was the systematic, ruthless application of 2,000 years of preserved knowledge toward a singular purpose, putting a Roman legionary on the surface of the moon. Progress was relentless. The 20th century saw the development of liquid chemical propellants, advanced alloys forged in geothermal furnaces, and computational devices, the calculi that filled entire halls with their brass clockwork and glowing vacuum tubes. These machines charted trajectories and calculated engine burns with cold, mathematical certainty. The crew were not called astronauts. They were ether-naughty sailors of the ether. Selected from the most decorated centurions of the Praetorian Guard, they were more than pilots. They were the embodiment of the Roman ideal. Brilliant engineers, hardened soldiers, and unflinching servants of the empire. Their mission was not to extend a hand in peace to the cosmos. It was to plant a standard, to claim territory. The heart of the operation was the Curia Coelestis. Here, the cold logic of science merged with the ancient traditions of the state. Engineers murmured telemetry data in Latin while, in the tiered seats above, senators watched the proceedings as they once watched the gladiators, witnessing a new kind of conquest unfold on shimmering glass and brass displays. But the final moments before the launch were fraught with a tension unknown to our history. The Aethernautai were not just facing the void. They were carrying the weight of 2,000 years of unbroken imperium on their shoulders. Failure was not an option. July 16, 1969. Aethernauta Primus Gaius Vipsanius, along with his two comrades, lies strapped into the command capsule, the Palatinus, atop the Jupiter Fulminans. He can feel the vibrations of the colossal machine beneath him, a beast straining at its leash. The final word of the countdown echoes from Mission Control. Accende! Ignite. A controlled earthquake of fire and sound erupts across the plains of Guyana. The Jupiter Fulminans claws its way into the sky, a brazen spear hurled at the heavens by the hand of man. In the Curia Coelestis, 1,000 engineers and senators watch in silent awe as a single point of light ascends toward the blackness of space. There is no cheering, only the quiet, profound satisfaction of a destiny being fulfilled. The journey is flawless, a testament to the brutal efficiency of Roman engineering. 3 days later, the lunar lander, the Aquila Minor, separates from the command module. Its spidery legs extend as it begins its descent toward the Sea of Tranquility, a region of the moon mapped by Roman astronomers 2 centuries prior. The landing is tense, but perfect. A puff of gray dust marks the moment of contact. A message is sent across 240,000 miles of emptiness, translated from the precise language of telemetry into the poetic tongue of the founders. Aquila Adest. The Eagle has arrived. The world, united by the Imperial Comm Network, watches on shimmering projection screens in the forums of every major city, from Roma to Nova Carthago to Alexandria. They watch as a figure, bulky and inhuman in its protective suit, descends the ladder. He steps off the final rung. His boot sinks slightly into the fine gray dust. For a moment, there is only the sound of his own breathing. He looks down at the ground, then up at the magnificent, marbled earth hanging in the eternal night. He keys his communicator, and his voice, filtered by electronics but firm with the weight of history, is broadcast to a captive planet. He does not speak of a small step for a man, or a leap for mankind. His words are for the power that sent him here, for the civilization that endured for over 27 centuries. Hic stat Aquila, he declares, his voice ringing with finality. Hic stat Roma. Here stands the eagle. Here stands Rome. With that act, the moon ceased to be a dream. It became a province. The final frontier was conquered, not in the name of humanity, but in the name of empire. An eternal, and now interstellar, Rome. What would such a world look like today? Would humanity ever reach for other stars? Or would the perfection of one global state dull the edge of ambition? What happens when there is nothing left to conquer? These are the questions that haunt the timelines that never were. To explore more of these branching realities, subscribe to ChronoShift and shift your perspective.